It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
All right, what's happening, guys? Happy Monday to you all. It is Monday, January 6th, 2020. That means you got exactly 25 days left in the month of January and 361 days left in 2020 before it's 2021, because it's right around the corner, guys. Make no mistake, it will be here before you know it. So you got 25 days left in January, 361 days left in 2020 to make the very, very best out of the time that you've got this year and this month. So this morning, we're going to talk a little bit about what I call the millionaire myth. Why everybody in the world's perspective, or the majority of the world's perspective of success, of financial success, so becoming a millionaire, is all wrong. And I'm going to tell you guys kind of where this came from, and I would encourage you guys to pick up this book. So I've been listening to, on audio, the book Everyday Millionaire. It's a book by Chris Hogan, and I picked up this book because Chris Hogan is speaking after me at the Leadership Boot Camp here at the National Payment Expo coming up here at the end of the month. And I wanted to get to know a little bit more about him before I kind of came in contact with him at that event. So I picked up that book and I started listening to it, and immediately it started to change my perspective on a lot of things, just on money in general. And then it threw out some statistics to me that really I thought were incredible statistics to be able to share with other people, to kind of change everyone's perspective on what real success looks like. Because I think that, as small children and growing up in America, and then even as adults, we are really fed a complete line of lies when it comes to what success looks like, what it takes to get it, and then how we maintain it. So, what does that life look like that everybody kind of aspires to have? The word millionaire is something that everybody knows, everybody's familiar with, but I think that people's perspective on how to get there and what it takes and what those people have done to get it is completely off base. And we're going to talk about that a little bit this morning. So if you guys could share this out for me this morning, I would appreciate it. Bruce, good morning. Jeff, Dayton, Patricia, Trisha, my wife is on here. Samantha, Trudy, good morning. What's happening, guys? A special happy birthday to Trisha, who is on here. So if you guys could wish her a happy birthday for me in the comments, I would appreciate it. Yesterday was her birthday. So I appreciate everything that Trisha does for us, and I would appreciate it if you guys wish her a belated happy birthday, only by a couple of hours. So we won't count it as a belated happy birthday. But at any rate, back to the topic here. So, I want to talk about how people perceive success in general. Let's not talk about money, but let's talk about success, because I think that in general, people think about success and they see an end result of what success looks like to them. And number one, people's perspective on success is all wrong, because most of the time people see success and they think that people are incredibly more successful than they really are. And so, everybody that is quote unquote successful still has the same challenges, still has the same difficulties as everybody else. And so people perceive success in some way that those people don't have any problems. And I think, again, this stuff is it's taught to us beginning at a very small age that people with money don't have any problems, or what they did to get it, or whatever the case. So I want to kind of get rid of this first myth here, is that despite, and this is straight from the book, Everyday Millionaire by Chris Hogan. And the title of this particular little excerpt is Millionaires Are Made, Not Born. And so here's some facts to back up what I'm saying. Despite what society might believe, only a small number of wealthy people actually inherited their money. Let me repeat that. Despite what society might believe, only a small number of wealthy people inherited their money. Here's the proof. So these guys literally have been researching and interviewing millionaires for, I believe it's over 20 years. This is Dave Ramsey's group, Chris Hogan. All these guys have done a ton of research on this topic. And again, I would highly recommend Chris's book, Everyday Millionaire, if you guys are into reading about financial. There's some stuff, by the way, that I am 100% on board with in this book, and there's some of it that I think is a little bit, it might work for some people, it might not work for another group of people. So, but by all means, you should always be consuming content that you think would be beneficial, and you can decide what's applicable to your own life. So here's some facts to back up that idea that a very small number of wealthy people actually inherited their money. The overwhelming majority, 79% of millionaires in the United States, did not receive any inheritance at all from their parents or other family members. 79% of the millionaires in the United States did not receive a penny from anybody else. 1 in 5 millionaires, 21%, receive some level of inheritance, but only 3% received an inheritance of $1 million or more. Which means, basically, that the only gifted millionaires is 3%. 3% of the total number of millionaires actually received $1 million or more. The other 97% did something to make that happen. And 79% received nothing. They received no head start, no help doing it. And so I think it's important to talk about this, guys, because we are all convinced that this is not the case. The vast majority of America believes that people that have money were somehow lucky, or they inherited it, or it came from somewhere and people didn't work for it. And I think that it's really, really important for everybody to understand. And the reason I want you guys to understand this is because I want you to understand that anybody can achieve it. It's literally a matter of numbers, of creating the right financial structure in your life to be able to pay off debt, or at least leverage debt in the right way, not using it foolishly, and then creating an abundance of income that you can then invest into businesses, into stocks, into whatever it is, that you can create your own situation to have a chance at becoming a millionaire. So here's the next bullet point. In fact, the majority of millionaires did not even grow up around a lot of money. According to our survey, 8 out of 10 millionaires come from families that are at or below middle income levels. Only 2% of millionaires surveyed said that they came from an upper income family. Let that sink in for a minute, guys. Nobody comes from an upper income family that is a millionaire. At 2%, that's like nothing, right? And here's the caveat to this, guys, is that people will try to convince you that this isn't the case, that it's not that simple. And the reality is it is that simple. The reason that we don't think it's that simple is because we go through life believing what other people tell us. And what other people tell us are not the facts. I was just having this conversation last night about, how you perceive things before you are educated on that particular topic. It's really, really easy, very easy, to just believe what will create a comfortable existence for you, what will allow you to create some failures in your life and not feel bad about it. It's easy to take all that stuff in. It's easy to believe the bullshit stories that other people tell you about success, about money, about anything, because much of the world wants to live in that average place where it's super comfortable. And I've got news for you guys. To do this, to become what we're talking about here, to become a millionaire, it is an uncomfortable path to get there because it's not easy. You have to save. You have to be disciplined. You have to pay off your debt. You have to make a decision not to buy things that you may want to buy. You might have to buy less Christmas presents, less birthday presents. You might have to do a lot of things, but the reality is the point of this conversation isn't to make you want to become a millionaire. It's to tell you that it's possible if you want to do it, because the statistics that are in your brain are way off of the reality of what you experience. What you experience is this: a society that tells you to buy things to make yourself feel better. A society that tells you that these things are unreachable. It's as simple, guys, as having a plan and sticking to that plan. I wrote something down yesterday when I was listening to this book, a note from a different chapter. But Chris Hogan said this, and I'm paraphrasing this. He said, there's a big difference between it can't be done and you can't do it. Tons of people will try to make you believe the second part of that. Remember, guys, it's being done every day by other people. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do. There is somebody doing it. We use the analysis all the time of the 4-minute mile, right? For years and years and years, nobody could run a 4-minute mile. The world thought it was impossible to do. But the first time somebody broke the record of the 4-minute mile, I think it was 3 minutes and 56 seconds. Within a few weeks or a month, I believe, there were 4 other people that did it immediately after, because their mental shift happened that they believed it was possible. And so when you guys look at success, when you look at financial success and millionaires and what people do, and we could talk all day about the different things that you need to do to put yourself in this position. But the reality is that it can be done. I will bring back, I'll post in the comments here, I'll look up these statistics because I didn't write these down. But the number of millionaires in the United States will blow your mind. The number of people, and by the way, when I say a millionaire, I mean a net worth of over $1 million, meaning that you have $1 million in net worth. Means, so if you owe $200,000 on your house and you have $500,000 in the bank, you take the $200,000 that you owe off the $500,000 you have in the bank, your net worth would be $300,000. There are a lot. I believe it's around 13 or 15 million people in the United States that have a net worth of $1 million or more. And so when people tell you that it can't be done or it's not achievable, what they actually mean is that you can't do it. They don't believe in you. And that should motivate you. It motivates me. Every time somebody doesn't believe in me, I don't care if it's a perfect stranger or somebody that I know, I find a new level of motivation from people's doubt, from the naysayers, right? From those people that think whatever they think. It should do the same for you. When somebody tells you it can't be done, or which also means, or they might say this directly, you can't do it. Let that work for you as fuel. And the other thing that I wrote down yesterday, and this one actually I wrote down from church, but I'll share it with you guys because I think that a lot of us go through life, and I say this often, I think that a lot of us go through life just floating on the surface. We really never do a lot of digging to get underneath the surface and really figure out what's going on in our own worlds, right? And if you are constantly trying to find your way, you will be looking for the rest of your life. Because finding your way is simple, guys. It is already inside of you. The reality of that is that you have covered that up to create comfort in your life. You have allowed yourself to do the things. And by the way, I'm guilty of this too. I'm not preaching to you guys about something that I don't do myself. Every day I find myself falling short in something that I promised myself, in something that I wanted to do better, in something that I said I was going to start today and I don't start. So it's a process, guys. But the reality is that I can look at myself in the mirror and know that the person that I am today compared to the person that I was 2 years ago or 5 years ago is not even close. It's so significantly better. The way that I function today, the amount of production that I'm able to get out of my life, the amount of things that I'm able to fit in, and the discipline that I've created for myself. It's not perfect in every aspect of my life all at the same time, but I've created the ability to manufacture discipline when I need it to create success. That's the most important thing. So I don't worry a lot. I don't spend a lot of time on negative thoughts because the way to my success is simple, guys. It's already inside of me. And I've worked on that for years and years and years. I've recognized that the guiding light for me is the person upstairs. That the person I was meant to be is already there. I just need to work on that person. I need to live up to the standard of what was already invested in me when I was born. The investment my parents made in me by being great parents, by staying disciplined to teaching me the right lessons in life. What the people around me in my life continue to teach me about and push me to today. Because most of the time, what you will find is that the people around you believe in you more than sometimes you believe in yourself. But the reality is, if you are constantly trying to find your way, if you're constantly feeling like you're off track, stop making excuses, guys, because the reality is that everything you need to create this level of success, to be a millionaire, to be successful, to feel better, to be happier, it's already in there. The reality is that you cover it up to make yourself comfortable. When people talk about, eating for comfort, we've all done it, right? We all feel a certain way and we eat and we feel comfortable. It's the same thing, guys. You cover up these feelings. You cover up the reality of who you're supposed to be because you don't want to do the work to create the success that you want. It's a subconscious thought. And that comes from, by the way, all the things that we're talking about right now that you were probably taught as a kid. There's no way that somebody in your life, there's a very low likelihood, I would say less than 5% of the people that might watch this, whether it's live or on the replay, have actually been educated on the numbers that I threw at you today. That 79% of the people in the United States that are successful, that have $1 million of net worth or more, have not received a penny of inheritance. There's no way. People don't believe that. If you were told that, drop it in the comments. If you weren't told that, tell us that too. But the reality is that the world around us is constantly going to be trying to convince us that that's not the case. Numbers don't lie, guys. That's why I love them. Because every single time that I read about something that educates me, it opens my eyes to something different. I know a lot of people in this category. And I can tell you that I wouldn't have believed that number until I read it, until I got it from a reliable source that told me that that number was true. I know a lot of people that fall into that category. And honestly, I should believe it because most of them are exactly the same. They didn't come from any money. They didn't come from anything. I've had people in my wife's life think that was me, that somehow I was gifted some, golden opportunity or that I had incredibly wealthy parents. It's a great compliment, but it's not true. We didn't struggle, but it wasn't what everybody thinks that it is. It's a great compliment when people say that about you, but the reality is that we all earn it on our own, guys. We all earn it on our own. And that's the reality of life. Because here's the other statistic, and I don't know this for sure, but the average millionaire, hits that number at 49 years old. That's the average. That's the average, 49 years old. So when you think about, people being handed it, back in the day, at least our generation, most of the time our parents weren't even, old enough to hand us that amount of money. Think about it. So I hope these statistics were helpful for you guys. I'm going to run through them one more time here before we wrap up. Overwhelming majority, 79% of millionaires in the United States did not receive an ounce, not $1 of inheritance from their parents or other family members. 1 in 5 millionaires, 21%, received some level of inheritance, but only 3% received an inheritance of $1 million or more. And in fact, the majority of millionaires didn't even grow up around a lot of money. According to this survey, 8 out of 10 millionaires come from families at or below middle income level. Only 2% of millionaires, 2%, said that they come from an upper income family. So you have no excuse, guys. Start today. Start today. The plan, everything you need to know about what you need to do is right here. It's already in your heart. You know exactly what the right thing to do is. And every single day, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to make better decisions, and you have to get better. 1% better every single day. Just keep working. Keep listening to things like this. Keep getting around people like the ones who are on this stream that want you to win, that push you in a positive direction, that admit their own faults, that all of those things. Like you're normal. Everybody goes through the same thing. It doesn't matter if somebody makes $10 million a year or $50,000 a year. They still have the same problems. They have similar problems, I should say. They're not maybe not the same, but everybody experiences life the same way. You are not protected from losing your health. You are not protected from having challenging situations in your family, with your coworkers, with your friends, because you have some money. Sometimes it's even worse when you get some money. So think about that, guys. But the reality is that the compass that you need is built right into you. The compass you need to get there is built right into you. The thing that makes that compass more accurate is who you surround yourself with, what you listen to, how much you read and educate yourself on things like this, to be able to debunk the myths, because there's so many of them, guys, that we are fed. And the reality is if you don't go educate yourself, you're going to go through this life having no clue what's true and what's not. Because if you get your content from the stuff that society is trying to push it to you, remember why they're trying to push it to you. Because they are profiting from it. They put the things on the news that they think you will watch. Most of the time, that's the negative stuff, because your fear brings people back. Great stories would send people out into the world to do more great things. It would inspire them to get out from in front of the television and go do something great. So what do they try to do? They just keep trying to push negative things so that you are worried and you are glued to the television. You are glued to that website. You are glued to the thing that they want you to read, to go check back for updates. I'm telling you guys, it's all right in front of you for the taking. I hope this was helpful, and I hope this unlocks something in you to tell you that you are capable of doing anything that you want. If you want success, it's there for you. 100%. If you're struggling to get it, send me a message. I'd be happy to help you. I'd be happy to connect you with people that can help you. I'd be happy to help in any way that I possibly can. I hope this was a good way for you guys to start your week. It was an awesome thing for me to read this weekend. It really motivated me and kind of refocused my thoughts on how to help more people be able to realize that this is possible. And that's it. So I hope you guys have an awesome week. I appreciate it. There was like 20-something people on this stream this morning, so I appreciate you guys tuning in. And for those of you who shared it out, I'm grateful to you. I would ask you again, I asked you last week, But if you find this content to be beneficial, I would just ask you that once a day, just every time you watch and you find something beneficial, that you pass this along to one person. Just send one episode, whether it's on here, on YouTube, on the podcast platforms. Just go there, click the copy link button, and send it to somebody. Text it to them, send it in DM, whatever it is. Just send this out to a lot of people so that we can get a lot more people watching this just like they did this morning. And let's just keep growing this audience, guys, because I believe if we can grow this audience, that one person at a time, we're going to impact the positive movement that's happening in this world. So I appreciate you guys. It is, Trisha, the first Monday of the new year. So I wish you guys the best first full week of 2020. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you again tomorrow morning right here, same place, same time on Morning Perspective. I love you guys. Thank you.